Let's talk about jukebox musicals.
Now, some of you may be unfamiliar with this term, so allow me to fill you in. A jukebox musical is essentially a musical that consists entirely of pre-existing songs that were written before the musical, usually by a popular music artist. Now, while a few jukebox musicals have received accolades and praise, most of them have tended to fall flat and haven't been well received.
And that's where Mamma Mia falls in.
Mamma Mia, here I go again.
Mamma Mia is a jukebox musical consisting entirely of songs from the Swedish pop group ABBA, and...
Actually, now that I think of it, this is technically the second time I've talked about jukebox musicals.
Back when I first started reviewing, I made a review of Rock of Ages, another jukebox musical based on music of the 1980s.
Man, it's been so long since I've made that video that I forgot what that review was like. Let's check it out! Hey everybody, this is TheHappySpaceman with another review. Wow, I look like a fetus. Then again, maybe that's just because my hair was actually at a reasonable length back then. Based on the 2006 Broadway musical, this is a strange little trip back to the 1980s glam metal scene. Funny that I keep focusing on the glam metal music, considering that a great chunk of the soundtrack consists of artists such as Foreigner, Night Ranger, REO Speedwagon, Starship, Journey, Pat Benatar, and other artists who are not glam metal. So first of all, why is it called Rock of Ages anyway? I mean, I know there was a Def Leppard song called Rock of Ages, except that song is never used in this musical. Hey, I have a question of my own. Does anyone else notice the audio mixing in this video? It sucks!
Like, this continues throughout the review. It always sounds like my voice is struggling to be heard over the movie or other audio.
I did realize that I could just, turn down the volume of the movie, right? Like, I don't need to keep the audio in the movie at the same volume throughout the entire review. Isn't that kind of misleading, naming your movie after a song that's never even in it? Interesting fact, I did find out the reason behind this.
In the 2000s, Def Leppard started having serious conflicts with their record label, Universal. There was a huge and pretty messy legal battle for the rights to their music that involved Def Leppard having to re-record some of their old hits in order to continue to receive royalties. And that rights conflict is basically why there were no Def Leppard songs in the original stage musical of Rock of Ages.
Still doesn't explain why in the movie they went with Pour Some Sugar on Me instead of the more obvious Rock of Ages, but I digress. Anyway, this movie centers around a woman named Sherry Christian, played by the girl from the Footloose remake. Oh, for God's sake, she has a name, you know. It's Julianne Hough. I know that the last name isn't exactly intuitive with how it's spelled, but you could have just Googled that. Yes, I know her character is incredibly cliched. Well, don't worry, folks. We have a lot more stereotypical characters coming up. Yay! Hey, look! I found the source of that running joke. Yay! Anyway, so she and the people around her partake in singing a cover of Sister Christian. I didn't mention this at the time, but why did they sing Sister Christian?
The character's name is Sherry, so you think they would have sung Oh Sherry by Steve Perry, but no, instead they sang Sister Christian? What sense does that make?
So Drew tries to get Sherry a job at the Bourbon, owned by What the hell is that?
Yeah, I have to agree with my past self here. Alec, I love you, but that hairpiece does not look real. At all.
But she does finally get a job as a waitress, as we see a town hall meeting with the mayor, who I swear looks like Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney jokes? When did I publish this review? 2014? I think that was a dated reference even then. He takes the time to introduce his wife, Patricia, played by Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Oh, shut up, Nostalgia Critic. Okay, Nostalgia Critic jokes definitely became dated a few years after this review. Trust me, Spaceman, you don't want to be associated with the Channel Awesome crowd. She plays the part of our next cliched character, a Christian mother who thinks that rock and roll is satanic and wants to destroy the club. It's funny that I'm essentially just describing what people like Mary Whitehouse and Tipper Gore were doing back then. I'm just saying, a great number of politicians really are that cartoonishly evil. Now this makes me wonder, what kind of universe is this movie where people can just break out into song on a regular basis?
Wow, imagine having to explain what musicals are. How could I have loved the genre so much but still be so clueless about that?
Paul goes inside the Indiana Jones tribe room to see, whoa, okay, never show that to me again. And to be fair, he's probably, oh god, movie! First his crotch, now his butt, you're sick! Can't handle a little male nudity? Come on, Motley Crue music videos show more skin than that. Plus, it's not like the ladies don't have plenty of fan service moments as well. There's just equal opportunity. Anyway, we then cut back to Catherine Zeta-Jones, who has raised an army of Christian mothers to fight against Tom Cruise. Saying that out loud makes me realize how strange this sounds. Okay, yeah, the Tom Cruise part is pretty strange, but as for the Christian mothers, again, Tipper Gore.
It's gotta stop!
And we're the ones who are gonna do it.
So your plan to bring about the end of rock music involves singing a rock song. Though even years later, this still makes no sense. By the way, the scene of them dancing is intercut with the scene of Mitt Romney cheating on his wife with a woman who likes to spank him. Dude, you can stop calling him Mitt Romney. The resemblance is barely even there. If anything, call him Walter White. At least then, both characters were played by Bryan Cranston.
This is something I kind of started working on after we met last night. Just a small town girl living in a lonely world.
That's not original. That's Don't Stop Believin' by Journey. Yeah, that does always bother me about jukebox musicals, when a character says that they're writing a new song, but it's obviously a cover of an older song. Even good movies like Moulin Rouge are subject to this.
For a smile they can share the night. And it goes on and on and on.
Still better Don't Stop Believin' cover than Glee.
Okay. Call your band. 3 songs, no cover.
So Drew's band, Wolfgang von Cult, gets them open for Arsenal. One thing I forgot to mention in my original review.
Right after Dennis orders their setlist to include no covers, Drew's band starts performing More Than Words by Extreme. Which is not only a cover, but it's not even from the 80s! The original song was released in 1991, just 6 months before Nirvana released Nevermind and changed the face of rock for the next decade. And this movie was set in 1987?
There's covering songs, and then there's covering songs years before the original songs even existed. Stop breaking the space-time continuum, movie! She's actually Constance Sack, a reporter for Rolling Stone sent to interview Stacy, but not before he autographs a loyal fan's boobs. Hey look, it's the review's thumbnail, back when I couldn't draw for crap. Now to be fair, this is probably my second favorite musical segment in the movie, but when I first watched it I thought that Tom Cruise was lip-syncing. I mean, would you ever listen to that and think it was Tom Cruise's real singing voice? Yeah, that is one thing I like about this movie. Every actor does sing their own parts, which is not something I can say for every movie I review. I mean, they're still obviously auto-tuned, but at least it's something. Hell yeah! Remember how I said that Wanted Dead or Alive was the second best song in this movie? Well, Pour Some Sugar on Me is definitely the best. I don't even know why, since the appeal of Wanted Dead or Alive comes from how fitting it is in that scene. With this, it comes mostly from the fact that it's friggin' Def Leppard, and their music is awesome. Now this, I definitely agree with.
I feel like a lot of people are way too quick to dismiss Def Leppard just because they're a hair metal band, but their first 4 albums are incredible, with their share of hard-rocking stadium bangers, softer ballads, and even delving into prog territory a few times. Not only that, but their drummer Rick Allen is an absolute hero, continuing to rock out after the car accident that caused him to lose his arm.
That is perseverance to the max, and you have to respect that. Though to be honest, it feels weird listening to someone playing Def Leppard and the drummer using both arms. Whoa! 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 What the hell?!
That's... You did not just make a joke about that! I know you did not just make a joke about someone's real-life, tragic, crippling accident. That's almost as bad as those people who make unfunny, tasteless jokes like, what has 9 arms and sucks? Def Leppard.
My god, I hate Past Me! By the way, remember how I mentioned earlier that Dennis and Lonnie have a man-crush on each other? Well, maybe it's a little more than that, as shown in this scene, where they realize their love and sing can't fight this feeling. Oh yeah, this scene. Look, I didn't go into detail about this at the time to avoid stepping on anyone's toes, but now that I'm older and better know how to handle sensitive topics, I think I'm going to talk about this for a little bit.
First of all, letting Alec Baldwin sing was a bad idea. He was doing alright in this movie before then, but here he just looks uncomfortable. But secondly, this scene and their entire romance feels like it was treated as a joke more than anything. Their romance never really goes anywhere, it wasn't really built up before now, and it just seems like it was thrown in for a cheap laugh, like, oh ho ho ho, look at the funny gay people, isn't it hilarious how they have different sexual preferences than we do? I don't remember if things were different in 2012, but that type of joke probably wouldn't fly today, especially since LGBT plus representation in movies, TV, and even cartoons has thankfully gotten a lot better in the years since then.
Phew. Okay. That's off my chest. Let's go back to picking apart my review.
That stage is a pedestal. And when you're up there, you're untouchable. And when you're up there, you can have it any way you want it.
Oh, come on! We just finished the song less than a minute ago. We don't need another. Dude, are you really complaining about the songs? They're the best parts of the movie. Hell, this one even has Mary J. Blige. This whole scene can be summed up in 3 sentences. I don't like this article about me. You took the money from that free show I did? You're fired. Hey, how did Constance find out about the money anyway?
All she did in her article was interview Stacy. She never asked Paul or Dennis about the money, so how did she know about it and write it in her article?
I know people these days hate calling out plot holes, and that is a term that's overused, but that right there, that's a big-ass plot hole. Thus the metal fans and the Christian mothers square off, with the metal fans singing "We built this city," and the Christian mothers singing "We're not gonna take it." Ah yes, because it makes complete sense for hard rock fans to be singing a soft rock song, and an anti-rock group to be singing a hard rock song. That's not unfitting in the slightest.
Well, everything wraps up pretty easily. Arsenal gets back together, Drew and Sherry are fronting their own band, Dennis and Lonnie are still an awkward couple, Mary J. Blige and Catherine Zeta-Jones are still in this movie, and I became a much, much better reviewer in the next few years.
So, that review wasn't very good. This was one of a few videos of mine to be taken off of YouTube due to copyright, and normally I'd be upset about this fact, but honestly I'm just glad about it, because it means that apart from the few followers I have on Vimeo, most people don't have to see this crap.
I think my biggest problem in this review was that I had yet to really develop my own style. I was still kind of writing the nostalgia critic style of reviewing for my first several videos in this channel, and would thankfully shape my own persona later on. But this caused a lot of the jokes to fall flat, and it didn't help that the movie was so long that I really only talked about a little of it. The movie lasted 136 minutes and crammed a whole lot of subplots in there. The movie's soundtrack is great, and Tom Cruise is especially fitting as Stacey Jax, but otherwise I kind of feel like I was being too nice to the film, because both it and my review of it were kind of a mess.
This is the Happy Spaceman signing off. Wait, wasn't I supposed to be reviewing something else today?